You're on the Marcus Allen Frishman show. He's Allen Frishman, and I'm not.
I'm Marcus Allen Frishman, and you're not. You got that right. Hello, Archie. Welcome to my show.
Hello. I wanted to have just before we start the show today, I wanted to show you something. My Breguet. This is my Breguet Type 21.
I've seen it. Beautiful, bold, manly.
I've actually put that onto a brand new Breguet strap. I'm sick of mucking around with NATOs and other things. This is an original Breguet, but it's I just bought it last year, and I decided I was sort of savoring it. I thought, fuck it. You know what?
Much better. Don't put it. Don't tell me you put that on a NATO strap, Archie.
Yes,
the pontiff is using NATO. Yeah. Well, I guess each to their own. I wouldn't have a NATO on anything. I don't like NATO straps, but that's me. Of course, we're doing a watch check. Same watch as last week, a little boring, but the most sought-after watch in the world, if it was stainless steel, the Rolex Submariner in 18-karat gold with a beautiful blue face. Maybe I'll switch it up next week. I have over 100 watches, some of them not luxury brands, independents, but there we go. Here we are, Archie. Another day, another dollar for Archie, ladies and gentlemen. It's important to WeChat, pardon me. It's important to Super Chat, which is essentially as a tip, and you can ask a question, and Archie will give you his expertise. I'll just give you my life experience. I'm not an expert in anything. Archie is.
I got to tell you something. It's very, very interesting to have you on today because I wanted to talk a little bit differently. Okay. I'm actually gearing up for retirement. I'm gearing up.
So am I, Archie. Gearing up. Yes, we can share that.
Actually, let me tell you something. Fleischman, I want to tell you something. I'm actually gearing up for retirement, and what I've decided to do is,
yes,
I've got a lot of money tied up in watches because that was my business. I want to sell half off.
Okay.
I want to keep a few things, but I actually want to sell some things. And the whole reason for this is, the whole reason why I want to do it is to just free up. I can't wear so many watches. You know, there's a limit. There's a limit.
I wear my watches, sure.
And what I want to do is, I tell you this. I tell you honestly, I just want to slow down a bit, enjoy a few, and I want to semi-retire. I want to get rid of some commitments. So it's not just I want to get the money. I want to get rid of some commitments. You know what I mean? It's just because when you have so many beautiful watches, you got to service them. So what I'm trying to do, you see this photo here?
I do watch.
Okay. I'm going to keep the 3 at the front row. That's
I knew you would. I knew you would. That's why I knew you'd pick the first 2, at least. Yeah. I don't know why
you know what? The Pam. I'm actually wearing the Pam today, and it's a dive watch. I love it. It's oversized. I can see it clearly. Simple. I love it. I love the Speedy was a gift. The Explorer. Oh, I tried to get rid of a Rolex, and it just did my head in. The back row. I love them. They're beautiful. However, all I need to keep is the Patek. The 3 Breguets. I may keep 1 Breguet. The Zenith, definitely get rid of.
Yeah.
I wanna bring it down a bit. Now the reason is I'm starting to plan for retirement. Now, I also put my car. I went to the car dealer, and they offered me money if I wanted to get out of my lease.
We're not going to downgrade, Archie, are we?
We're going to keep what we've got at the moment. I can tell you that, Fleischman, because they offered me fucking insulting prices, and I'd rather keep it. I'd rather just keep it. You know what? If it's a good car and I love it, just keep it.
The BMW is the finest machine in the world. If you
know, honestly,
really
the BMW, I love Porsches. Porsches are incredible, but I think as an overall package, the BMW is cheaper and a better package. But Porsche, man, don't get me wrong, Porsche is a dream. And you're only young, Fleischman, so you've got to enjoy your time whilst
I'm
you're...
on my 6th Porsche, and I will tell you, I've had 1, 2, 3, 4 BMWs, all 3 series, all convertibles, and all stick
You would
shifts.
go back to a BMW, wouldn't you?
I have one still. I have my last.
I know, you got the E36. It's in your garage. You've had it since 1998. But would you
97,
go back to
97.
BMW in the future? Possibly?
I could see how I could sell off if I made the decision, okay, I'm going to be reasonable about things, which is not normally what I do. I would buy another 3 Series, or I would buy a Porsche Macan. So a guy like me doesn't buy a Porsche in retirement. I've done that. A guy like me buys a Macan in retirement. He buys a toned down BMW. Yeah, but that's kind of the plan. I can't believe you would sell that Patek Philippe World Time.
Oh no, I want to keep that. I mean,
it has value.
Sorry?
It has value, but you can get money off it.
Well, what I want to talk to you about today is retiring in Asia. Now, I wanted to ask you something. US or Asia? Yeah. What is your view?
I think it would be a fabulous place to retire. But remember, my experience is the Philippines. If you retire, it means you're old. If you're old, you need medical care nearby. You just do, Archie. We're not getting any younger. And as you get over a certain age, you're going to find you need a pill for blood pressure, or you might have a heart attack and need to be close to a hospital. It's not like America and Australia where an ambulance could just pick you up somewhere. So you have to be in Manila. I see a lot of people retiring to remote provinces. There are a couple of exceptions, but as a general rule, you go to Manila because of the medical care, and it's cheap. You don't need insurance, although you can get it, and that insurance is pretty cheap. But you know what they do at the hospitals in Manila? You have to usually pay upon entrance, unless they size you up as rich and honorable, and then you'll not be allowed out of the hospital until you pay. And they put a guard at your door.
Fuck me dead. That's
well, I'll tell you an experience, because we're talking about retirement. My girlfriend had food poisoning. And if you know, in America, when you have food poisoning, you just hang out in the bathroom. Let's just put it that way. But, you know, it's a Filipino girl. She wants to, she's uncomfortable. I took her to an A-class hospital and in the Philippines. And there's classes of hospitals. I took her to an A-class facility, and it was a major hospital. And they gave us a room. And, you know, all they did with her was, well, it doesn't matter what they did. I could explain that. But the point is, you know, they don't have LVNs and nursing assistants. They have full RNs. And they just don't have one doctor. They have 2. And the patient ratio is very low. You get excellent care, superior care. And where are all these doctors trained? The Mayo Clinic, or in Chicago, or in New York, or in California. And these are excellent top American doctors that have born in the Philippines but work there. And then it's the time to depart, and the guard will show up to your room. He's in uniform. And then they'll present you the bill physically, and they'll tell you where to take care of it. If you say, oh, I left my wallet, can you bill me? You fill in the blank. Sorry, you can have your friend or family come. Now, I have received many text messages from acquaintances, not friends, in the Philippines, saying, Marcus, I'm at the hospital. I can't get the money. Can you contact someone for me? I have a low battery, and I'll contact a family member who will have to go to the hospital.
Have they ever asked you to pay the bill, Marcus?
No, they know better. But I have arranged for the communication and the transportation of the person with the money. And if you have to spend another night, they bill you for that. So your bill keeps going up. They do the same thing at hotels. I experienced a girl in a lobby once that was crying, and I was staying at the Etsa Shangri-La Hotel in a very top-notch, it's the best they've got. but I didn't like the early morning traffic. So I checked into a secondary hotel across town near my meeting called the Rembrandt Hotel, probably a 3-star hotel, just to spend the night, to be up early and be near my location without traffic. And there was this girl in her 20s crying in the lobby, and I approached her, and there was a guard standing next to her. And this is where I learned this in my first years. What's the matter? Well, there's a problem. She explained the problem. I won't bore you with that. The bottom line is she couldn't pay the bill.
How much was it?
Oh, I don't know the amount. Well, that hotel was very inexpensive. So I knew the price of the hotel was about $6,000, about $150 a night. So
American,
I'm converting it, but that was approximately what that place was. So you can look it up. The Rembrandt Hotel. It's easy to find. It's a nice little place. It's good for a night. Anyway, the point is, they escorted her back up to her room. She invited me up there. I went up to her room with her and the guard. He stood outside. Very nice man. And I tried to persuade the front desk because I had influence there. The hotel's owned by a congressman who knew me. And no way, that's their policy. So I kept her company while some relative was coming to help her pay the bill. They wouldn't let her out.
Oh, I see.
So you got to have money in the Philippines, as low as those numbers are. Have cash. I have a Philippine bank account. I have a credit card. I have a debit card in the Philippines. I have an American Express card, Philippines. I have a BDO debit card. I have a China bank debit card. I have a checking account, all in the Philippines. And if anyone is listening from the American Internal Revenue Service, I just bring travel money, deposit it, use it, and withdraw and keep minimal balances there, and then come back to America with my money in the form of checks, not cash.
Yes, understood. Tell me this. Okay, fair point. I get it. See, did you help that lady, or what happened in the end with her, the dancehall?
She was a complete stranger, so I don't know what happened. I had to leave, but that's the scenario, and I've seen and heard it from other people. And I told you, my girlfriend and I, it was just a protocol. That's what they do. The guard comes to the room. I went down. I can tell you the bill, and she was there only 4 hours. It was 8,000 pesos, which is very high for that care, but only in the Philippines, but only because it was that hospital. And 8,000 pesos is about it's definitely under $200.
I see.
We had two doctors and an RN, and they infused her with liquid water, basically, and they gave her some medication for discomfort, and she had food poisoning. A few hours, she's better.
Wow, incredible. So tell me this, sorry, Fleischman. I got to ask you this question here.
Yes.
You don't go there if you do not have the money. You do not go there because they will not let you out. That's very serious, isn't it? You could see how this could turn really nasty, couldn't you? This could turn nasty.
They will work with you if they believe you're a legitimate. They'll arrange for some things. For instance, they'll arrange for a car and driver to help you go get the money. They'll do things. They will. However, if they think you are, let's just say, unable to pay the bill by intent, charges will be filed. You'll go home, but there will be a police report and a follow-up. Yeah.
I see.
So there's no bill me later. There's no, and most people don't have insurance. And if they have insurance, you get reimbursed by the insurance yourself after you've paid your bill in the Philippines.
Yes. I get what you're saying there. That's a very good point. That's how it does work there.
But it's not like an American hospital where the one time in my life that I went to the emergency room in America, I was in and out quickly, actually, because I shopped it. I made sure the day was Sunday at about midnight. I scheduled it around my event and picked which hospital I would go to so there wouldn't be a crowd. I'm in Los Angeles. And, it's a weekend. The gang members are shooting each other. So I went to a remote hospital, and I was out in about 3 hours. That's very quick. and I received a bill of $12,000 from 3 different entities. The lab bills you separately. It was $12,000. I put up a battle that you wouldn't believe.
Oh, $12,000. What were they trying to charge you for?
I had a strange situation occur. I thought I had a swollen neck right here. I thought I was bit.
Could you ring Imelda Marcos and get her to help you if you were in trouble?
In the Philippines? Oh, sure.
Yes.
But I don't think she could. Someone would have to help me around her. She's taken ill and she's maybe experiencing some difficulties. So
but she would help you, but wouldn't she or not? Would she help you or not?
Yeah, but I don't see why I would need her help. I can pay my own bills. I have better. Look, if I had a real problem, I had problem getting out of the Philippines during COVID. I wanted out. I arrived there for a 3-month visit and I stayed 19 days. That was a complete waste of $4,600 on the round trip plane ticket for 19 days. But I got out using my contacts quickly at the Los Angeles International Airport by phone in the Philippines. I got out the same day I requested, but I had trouble moving through the checkpoints. So I contacted the Speaker of the House of Representatives office directly. He said, talk to Marge, his assistant, who's on my Facebook as a friend. Marge arranged for an email to come to me from the Speaker, and I showed my iPad email at all the checkpoints because you couldn't move around the Philippines. Their lockdown was crazy. And I kept showing them, so you needed to have, in order to pass, you needed to have a itinerary. But my itinerary showed a departure 3 months away. So I had no itinerary. I had nothing but the guy in the freaking phone saying, get to the airport, and I got to the airport, and certainly I was ticketed, and I went aboard the 2:00 flight. But I had to get past some checkpoints with an email from the Speaker of the House of Representatives. You do things like that. And I gave 100 pesos to one guard because he was being reluctant at one of the checkpoints. I wish I would have given him more, but I didn't have any Philippine cash. Look, I got out of there fast. Yeah.
We got a super chat. Black Cat 997, $5. Is there a level of money, dollars, that someone should have, like a healthcare co-payment for someone who wants to live there as an expat? How much money should you have as a reserve?
Well, it depends. If you have art surgery there, my girlfriend's father had a very serious bypass surgery, and I believe that they told me that was 500,000 pesos. Now, you know what bypass surgery costs in Australia and America, probably, and an insurance company probably pays it. You probably get away with $3,000 copay, but in the Philippines, 500,000 pesos is roughly, let me do the math real quick, $10,000. So that was all in. That's everything. And so things are cheap, but you can see a heart transplant's at the top of the food chain. So I would think if you had $10, $20, $30, $40,000, you could get a heart transplant, for God's sake. So things are reasonably priced in the Philippines relative to America.
Yes. I see what you're saying.
And that's a big part of retirement, Archie. You as you're getting older, you have to think of that. And I hear the war stories of the expats that fully retire in provinces of the Philippines, not the big cities,
Yes.
certainly not Manila. Well, there's no ambulance, and you're gonna die on the way to the airport, on the way to because some of the provinces you just have to get out. You have a 2-hour drive. I have a rule in the Philippines for me. I don't go anywhere beyond 2 hours from an airport. Now, I don't do that for health reasons. I don't have health conditions, but I do it for my own reasons. And 2 hours from an airport, and unlike the U.S., where we can go everywhere in a plane, I have, let me see if I count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 airports in very quick driving distance, and 2 of them are international. All right. And if I expand the driving distance, the number goes up. In the Philippines, there is So few airports. I'm trying to decide if there's more than one in Manila. Or two. So you have to be near an airport. You just do, because you're going to wind up not being able to get proper care without taking a plane flight.
Tell me this, retirement. Let me ask it to you. US or Philippines, what would you choose?
Depends what your priorities are, but Philippines would be at the top of my list.
Happiness. I want happiness is my priority. Okay, happiness.
Philippines. It's not happy here in Los Angeles or the People's Republic of California, I'm sorry to say.
Yes.
Archie, it's very bad here. I grew up in Los Angeles. When I say Los Angeles, I mean greater Los Angeles. I grew up in Calabasas, 9 miles north of Malibu. It's actually not in the city of Los Angeles. I live at another location I won't say publicly, although it's a matter of public record. I'm just not going to blow it out there.
Yeah, no, just don't.
Yeah, but I was, I lived in Beverly Hills, LA adjacent when I was growing up. So I've really only lived in 3 LA-based, greater LA locations. It's not what I grew up in. And the only thing that has improved in Los Angeles, and I've thought about this, I've made a list, the smog. We don't have smog anymore. We used to have smog alerts when I was in junior high and high school, where you wouldn't go out into the field and play PE, smog alerts. And they had numbers or categories, letters, numbers to them. We haven't had a smog alert or significant smog in decades. We don't have smog here. The air is beautiful, and we have more cars in this region than any place in the world, and nothing compares to it. There isn't a city in the world with the amount of exhaust fumes that we have. But those exhaust fumes are clean now.
Because of electric cars?
No, because of, well, that's adding to it, but that's recent. No, our emission standards have created essentially emission standards for the world. If you listen to the interview the Porsche CEO did a few years ago, he was asked, why did you stop making 6-cylinder naturally aspirated cars? Why would you do that? And now why is everything 4-cylinder or 6-cylinder with turbocharged, dual turbocharged?
Yes.
Now, I can't explain the technology. He did, but he explained the politics. And I understood that. He said, because the California governor and legislature told us it must happen, we do what California dictates, and we have for decades, he said. California makes the law. We administer it for almost always everywhere in the world, because it's our largest market is Los Angeles, California. The second largest market is not Los Angeles, California. The third largest market is the rest of the United States. And so we have to abide by the crazy environmental extremist policies. And that's what we're going to do, regardless of what our customers say. And what they say is they don't like this new Porsche. I'm just giving Porsche as an anecdote, but all of the world car markets have adhered to.
They're moving towards 4-cylinder turbos.
Yes. Now there are some features that are not on everything, but I'm going to give you one. I don't know if it's on everything in the world. I think it is. So the car has to be programmed to turn off its engine at a stoplight.
I hate that feature.
Do you have that in Australia?
Yes, it's mandated as well.
Because it may be mandated, but I tell you, even if it wasn't,
we mandated that bullshit because of the fact that there's nothing worse than turning a car off and on all the time. You're going to kill the starter motor. Well,
guess what? They enhance those starter motors, but the Porsche has a button.
You can turn it off.
You can shut it off, and that will be the default. It is always off. And it was very disconcerting when I got my first Porsche. 2014, I think, was the year that I bought the Porsche. And I believe that's the year I first discovered this. Oh, my God, it was disconcerting. I just turned it off and learned how to keep it off.
Hey, we got a super chat. Black Cat 997. $5. Math, your thoughts on the Putin The Trump Putin Alaska summit. Yes. I thought it was a disaster, but
I thought it was fabulous. Now, let me tell you my take on it. And this is, look, I didn't get the news today. I'm not up to the news.
No,
today.
that's okay. Tell us your view.
I looked at it yesterday.
That's what we want to know.
And I got the news last night. All right. So Putin said he had an agreement. I don't know if something was lost in the translation and he meant to say, I proposed a plan for an agreement. Trump said, we don't have a deal till we have a deal, but he was alluding to the deal that was on the table. All right. So there was a deal agreed to. And according to Trump, every issue was agreed to the Trump standards, but for a couple, I don't know if a couple's three, a couple issues, big ones, that will have to be worked out. Secondly, I think it was important that these two leaders meet for issues that are much bigger even than this war. It was time that they meet. George Bush met Putin 28 or 29 times. Putin made deals with Bush and then in some cases reneged. And according to Bush, in his book, when he left office, he really liked Putin. He's a charmer, but he failed to commit to his own commitments half the time. So he felt he wasn't reliable or trustworthy. But this was a very interesting moment yesterday when Putin got off the plane. These are subtleties that matter to these people. We're talking about Putin, a dictator, alleged to have killed people or ordered killing, the head of the KGB for decades, or at least a decade, and a real charmer. So let me tell you what President Trump did to him. It was, I thought, significant, and I haven't seen anybody comment on it. He gets off the plane. They're greeting each other. Putin says, hello, neighbor, because they're 8 or 10 miles apart in Alaska. The territories of Russia and America are close up there. And Trump had the B-1 bomber, the stealth B-1 bomber, the most powerful instrument we have. And we out Air Force them massively by thousands of jets. There's no comparison. They don't even have a significant Air Force. If you look at the charts, and I did the other day, I was surprised. I didn't know that, but it's a fact. So he had that jet along with our most modern fighters, 2 or 4 of them, fly over the head of Mr. Putin and just let him know who's boss. And Putin looks up. Oh, you missed it. I watched it. Putin looks up. There's a smile, but you can see it on his face. Touche, Mr. Trump. Because he respects, the Russians, they respect power and authority. And I'm going to tell you why. I learned it from Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan talked about a story, and Ronald Reagan told the truth. Ronald Reagan, Trump doesn't always do that, but Ronald Reagan told a story of a truck driver he met in Russia. He was there. Mm-hmm. And the Russian truck driver said, I keep a picture of John F. Kennedy on my visor in my truck. This Russian truck driver who loved his country, was not a traitor, didn't particularly support America but he said, Mr. President, because they allowed people to meet the president there. And he said, I kept a picture of John F. Kennedy because he's strong. We respect him. He has strength. And that culturally falls into line with Putin's era. And Putin respects strength. America has significant sanctions against Putin. Putin would be arrested in certain countries of the world. We need to help him renormalize. We need to be his ally. Are
you a Margaret Thatcher fan?
Yes.
Margaret Thatcher said she knew he was evil.
He is. But
Yes.
But what did she have a butt? I'm sure she did.
She said she knew he was evil when when he was in office and their submarine sank. Remember the submarine sank?
Right.
And
Yes.
the British offered to help get the troops out and that there. And he
evil.
basically just fucked around and said, no, we're okay. We're trying ourselves.
That's because they can't look weak. So Trump did not want to make him look weak. And that's why we dealt with him differently than we dealt with the Ukrainian president, notwithstanding Trump not liking him much and thinking he's a thug also. But I mean, that putting that aside, even if Trump thought he was the greatest man on earth, he would never have a welcome like we needed to welcome the Russian president, notwithstanding all the evil that's around him. Look, the man runs Russia. He's a huge trading partner. And guess who he brought with him? This wasn't talked about by the mainstream media. The mainstream media is anti-Trump. Let me tell you what, Putin knows how to impress Trump. He brought some businessmen. He brought some heads of departments that run nationalized institutions of Russia. They want to do a deal with the president, and they want to pay billions to America to be able to do that. Trump won't sign those deals until there's peace, but they're in queue. So this was important, and then he, we don't know the details, so let's not criticize this. Trump doesn't want a ceasefire. The Ukrainians want a ceasefire. Putin doesn't want a ceasefire. He wants a solution. So Trump wants the end of the war arbitrarily and capriciously. So what's going to happen, I predict, is that the war will end likely without a ceasefire once Putin gets to look like he got something. I use my words carefully. Looks like he got something. He made 3 territorial demands. 3. Forgive me, yes. I can't pronounce the communities. He might need to get 2 of the 3 to be considered a win, and 2 of the 3 he already had before the war. So I think it's set up to work out, despite the disappointment of publicly from people. There shouldn't be. This was very positive. Whether it ends the war or not may not matter to the success of this meeting.
Oh, I see. So you don't think it was that bad?
No.
You think this is very good to have the meeting because it's moving places. It's behind the scenes, you're saying, is more important than...
Oh, yeah. They have to work a deal, and that's going to happen behind the scenes. And they had to begin talking. Now, the next meeting...
How does Putin save face? Can I ask you that? How can he possibly...
It has to look like a win.
Yes.
Doesn't have to really be a win, which means...
Has to look like... Because he can't...
But let me tell you, do you remember what Trump said? He says, this war would never have happened. He repeats it. He's a repeater. He repeats it constantly. Would never happen if I was president. Guess what Putin said? Mr. President, this war would never have happened if you were president at the time. And I want to tell you why. Because Mr. Trump can't explain anything. He's a deal maker, but certainly not a salesman, right? You can understand the different skill set. He doesn't have a salesman skill set. He has a deal maker skill set. They don't always overlap. So I'm going to tell you, Mr. Trump, President Trump doesn't explain things well. He has staff that does. In the first term, he had no one that explained anything well. But I'm going to tell you why he would have not had this war had Trump been president. Putin went to President Putin. President Putin went to President Biden. And he had to do it via the State Department, not direct. That's how it happened. And he put together a list of, I believe it was 9 items that he wants. He did it after he amassed 100,000 plus troops at the border. And he said, I'm going to go to war. I know you have some national interests there. So I'm coming to meet and pay my respects upon you, Mr. Biden. I have 9 requests. Forgive me, 8 or 9. I read them at the time. There was only one on that list that he wanted.
I see.
The rest could have been renegotiated. The rest could have been renegotiated, but The only thing President Biden denied was the very thing he wanted. And I'm going to tell you what it is. And I'm going to tell you how easy it was to agree to it. And I'm going to tell you why there was a disagreement. It's very simple. It's not taking a lot of words. The one item that was the deal breaker was he said, I must have a guarantee that Ukraine will not be a member of NATO for 10 years. 10 years. Now, maybe that could have been negotiated to 5, whatever. 10 years. That's what I want. He was fearful of a number of components that relates to that. Now, here's what Biden's answer was, and he did it in writing via the State Department, Secretary of State, Mr. Blinken. And here's what he said in the press conference, one of the few he did. He said, no one tells America who's going to be a member of NATO. We do that. Now, here's some facts. You cannot be a member of NATO. According to the NATO Charter, there's no flexibility. There's no exceptions. There never has been. You can't be a member of NATO if you have a border dispute at any level component. Anything, let alone a war. If you have a written dispute over territory, you can't simply be a member. There are a few other sub-reasons why Ukraine can never be a member. It will never be, in our lifetime, likely a member of NATO. That's all he had to say was, here, let me tell you what he had to say. He had to bring down the pride and say, Mr. Putin, we can guarantee that for 20 years. And you know what? We can do a harsh statement announcing that they will never be a member. You know why? Because we can, and you're right. And that was it. There were a few other sub-components that could have been negotiated easily. Instead, we said no, and then that implied we're going to change the rule and make them a member. We aren't. And NATO is an absolute threat to him. NATO should be reorganized anyway, and it should include our other partners. And our NATO friends are not very good friends. The French are not friends of America. The
French are not friends of America?
I believe the president is a traitor, and he is assisting terrorism around the world. The president.
What's to say that again?
The president of France is a terrorist sympathizer and provider of support.
Just back the truck up. I happen to like his wife.
Well, she may be. He's a very polite, charming man, but so is our friend over there in Russia, Mr. Putin.
Do you really think France is an enemy of America?
I think France is a supporter of terrorism and terrorists. It's not an opinion. It's an empirical fact. It's documented. Everybody knows it. They've announced it. And as a result, I don't particularly think the French president or the French country and the people of France. Well, I don't want to put too many people in one group here when we're talking internationally on the YouTube, but the French people are not great friends of America. Okay, there are great people of the world like the Iranian people who are truly friends of America. At least 80 or 90% of them support America, Israel, and the dynamics related to that. The French don't.
Oh, I see.
And we have a lot of good alliances with England. They're pretty good. When we need them, they come through. Germany is coming into line. When President Trump said to them on his first meeting years ago, you got to stop buying the gas from Russia. It was President Trump in his first term that killed that massive deal for Russia. The man that was supposedly in collusion with Putin and likes Putin took the largest amount of money the country's ever seen and shut it off. Our sanctions are massive. And if Putin doesn't come into line, he's going to be sanctioned to such a level that they're going to have trouble doing international deals because they're going to be pulled from the SWIFT system. He doesn't want to hurt the Russian people. The Russian people are also good people.
Yes, but you must admit that has been a disaster, don't you think?
What?
The Ukrainian war. I mean,
Absolute
you can't.
disaster. But now we are giving them all the military equipment that they want. President Trump has changed his position. However, they're having to pay for all of it. Every penny. They get nothing. They're going to pay, and they paid in advance. And some of the European countries have now paid and increased their allotments. We are now paying nothing for that war.
Yes. Yes.
Cut them off for a few months. Whether that policy was a good one or not, they were eating up their stockpiles, but it was to send a shockwave, and Trump knew exactly how much supplies they had, so it had no effect, no negative effect. It had a political effect. And then when they really ran out of supplies, he has agreed to provide them with supplies after they pay us billions and billions. And then he went to Europe and pay billions. You're going to pay your share to defend all this. It's your land that we're protecting. America's tired of that. And then he made the Ukrainian president sign a contract that turns over all of their minerals to the United States for a fee. We'll be paying for it.
Oh.
So that's how we're going to get war reparations. We're going to help them fix their country, make them free and rich, like we made Europe free and rich. I think we're off the subject. Retiring in the Philippines. That was the top. Or retiring in Asia.
Yeah. So firstly, would you, on the surface of it, would you rather retire in America or retire in Asia?
I'd rather retire in Asia, although I would like to see if I could budget Singapore.
Oh, that's expensive.
I know. It's gorgeous. It may be the perfect place to live. I did some research. What's the perfect place to live, regardless of expense? And at first I thought Hawaii, but the government of Hawaii, I just couldn't do it. It's overwhelmingly beautiful. But Singapore, that's the place. That may be the true land of the free and the rich. And there are other countries that I haven't been to that seem to be at the top of my theoretical list. Puerto Rico.
Yes.
Panama.
Yes, Panama.
And there's the Maldives, but it's dangerous there. Crime level.
Oh, Maldives is they only take US dollars. It's very expensive.
Yeah, it is. There's a crime element that's focusing only on foreigners. You have to look at the crime against foreigners when you do your research, not crime against locals. And they separate those. Some of them hide those details.
Yeah.
But somebody, our new fuzzy wants to know about Thailand. Now, I've never been to Thailand. Archie has, but I've researched it. It's considerably cheaper than the Philippines. And the advantage of the Philippines, there's a massive advantage. Everyone speaks English.
Yes, that is
everyone, and everyone's educated. They've gone to college. They've gotten degrees. At least multiple members of the family, excluding the far provinces, and they're highly educated. You'll find that when you go to the Philippines, your waiter is a pharmacist. There's there's limited jobs in the Philippines. Your waiter is a pharmacist. I had a waiter. I'll tell a quick story. So I brought my dog to the Philippines once. He was getting old. It was necessary for me to be with him and not leave him in care of anyone but me. So I flew him to the Philippines. His name was Raleigh. He lived 15 years. He died 6 months after I returned from the Philippines, so I was on target. I'm glad I brought him. I brought him to the Philippines without any plan, but I knew I didn't need a plan in the Philippines. It happens suddenly. You text somebody and you got a plan. In reverse, that could never happen. So I got to the Philippines, and I had my first lunch the morning of my arrival. I set my housekeeper take care of Mr. Bueller. I have to have some peace of mind. I went out alone. My girlfriend was at work. I went to a restaurant. I had a nice lunch, and I was talking with a waiter. And he said to me, I'm a veterinarian. I full-fledged vet. Oh yeah, I'm a doctor. And he's my waiter down the street from my place. I think the place was called Wine. Oh, I forgot the name of the restaurant. One of my favorite. It's closed now. But anyway, so I said to him, "Hey, during this lunch, we're talking and talking." I made him an offer. I said, "I know what you're making. I know what you're making here. Everybody makes the same amount of money." It was 400 pesos and some tips. And he didn't really get the tips. The management steals the tips. He would get only the tips that were handed to him directly. So,
oh, is that right?
Oh yeah, no, you don't
say that again. Say that again.
Oh, you don't tip in Manila. If you do, the management takes the money. I learned that when waiters started to whisper to me, "Sir, don't tip." Wherever it's at, just don't tip, even though there's a tip option. So, very few exceptions, unless you hand the tip directly.
Takes the tips. What do they do with the tips?
Well, they make more profit. So, I'm thinking of restaurants now. Now, I said to him, "Look, I'm going to offer you 800 pesos, double your salary, if you'll come and take care of my dog." Now, this man works every day of the week. He has 1 day off a month. They make him come in for about 10 a.m., 11 a.m. He works until the lunch rush. Then he has to sleep on site. Then he has to come back for dinner, and he's off at 10 or 11 at night. So he works from 10 to 11 or 12 at night. That's his schedule, 400 pesos. I said, "All I want you to do is come at about 10:30 in the morning. I want you to take care of my dog, and you go home when I get home. I'm going to make sure."
What did he say?
He said, "Deal. And you're going to have all weekends off." Because I had somebody else. I did that myself, my girlfriend, my housekeeper, my assistant. He said, yes. So I had a full-fledged doctor and he brought his framed degree at one time in the future because he wanted to show me. He was a veterinary doctor, taking care of my dog, essentially, feeding him. My dog had to be walked in the hall of my apartment, and he would poop in the hall. We had to clean that up fast. But, my dog was, old. And I will never forget this man. And he took a bus from Antipolo, which is about an hour ride. It cost 80 pesos. And by the way, the 800 pesos I gave him, double his restaurant salary and no taxes taken out, is roughly oh gosh almighty. At the time, it might have been $18, $17, $16. I paid him weekly. I'm forgetting the amount, but that's what the daily amount was. And he took care of my dog. So you can get anything for very little. Everyone's educated. They don't eat the dogs. There's somebody commenting. Esto Eric 727. I know I mutilated that. No, they don't eat dogs in the Philippines. I believe that's Thailand or China or someplace. I think definitely China. But no dog eating. Philippine dogs are not quite brought to the level of family as an American dog that often sleeps in American beds with their owners. And, in the Philippines, because of sanitary reasons, a dog is often roped up and kept outside and rarely let inside. Depends. There's some class distinctions, but they're truly loved.
Oh, I see. Got you.
But they're treated more like animals than they would be in America. We treat our dogs like our children. Many people do. Not all. There's some exceptions to every rule I'm citing, right?
Yes.
Someone's saying everyone over there isn't educated. No, not everyone. I never said everyone. Now, let me clarify. In Manila, that's 35, 40 million people of the 120 million, whatever the current stats are, okay? It's an old number. They are educated. The waiters, the workers. Let me go emphasize this. When you get on the phone and you call your bank, as an example, and it is an outsourcing service in the Philippines, let me tell you something about that you're going to be shocked at. let me refer to one of the presidential debates in America, where there was actually a question asked of the presidential candidates, and they all had to answer. Do you support outsourcing jobs to the Philippines and India and other countries? It's mostly Philippines and India. And every presidential candidate said they were opposed to it. They considered it slave labor. It was like listening to repeated answers. They all finally agreed on something. This was a presidential debate.
Yeah.
I only remember it because of my focus of the Philippines. Slave labor, the call centers. Now, let me tell you how every one of them were wrong. To be hired at a call center in the Philippines, you will have a resume. You will have a police clearance certificate. You'll have a lot of documentation to show that you are an honorable person. You will likely be a woman. You will have straight teeth. You will be beautiful and attractive. That's what they want, even though you're not seen. It's in the ad. And then when you get hired, you're going to be coming from a wealthy family. Why? For the most part. Why? Because you're hired because you're well educated. If you work at McDonald's in the Philippines, you need a degree most of the time. You need to have a police clearance certificate and a full resume. So the point is, when you call this bank and you're getting the Philippine call center, it is the highest paid job in the Philippines. Now, let's be clear about this. The Philippines pays, when I say everyone, there's always exceptions. They pay everyone the same wage. Secretary, waiter, janitor. They don't have levels of pay like we do. You either get paid the minimum, which now I think is 500 or 600 pesos a day, or you get paid something slightly more. And if you're a professional, like a doctor, I know a doctor that makes 75,000 pesos a month. That's a far cry from 10 or 15, isn't it, of the driver? But it's still only 75,000. Do the math. That ain't $2,000 a month. So when you talk to a call center employee, you're talking to the most educated. But here's what's more likely that tops the education. They're from a wealthy family. They're from a key wealthy family.
Wow. I didn't realize that. You don't realize
that job is coveted. And who gets coveted jobs? The wealthy, the A class and the B class. Now, some C classers can parlay that. They can parlay themselves into that with extraordinary skill. Yes. I know a girl that is not particularly from a wealthy family. She's from a upper end income family, but her English and her hobby is reading books, and she has 2 degrees. She's working at a call center as a trainer, which is a slightly increased pay at about 60 to 80,000 pesos a month, more than that doctor I told you about a moment ago. So don't be, when you're yelling at these people on the phone, they are likely the Indian crowd, because I can't speak for them. But the Filipinos are educated. They're from the wealthiest of families, and trust me, they have more money than your dad and you combined. Because the wealthy does. The wealthy in the Philippines is just under 5% of the population. They represent what would be the 1% or 2% in America. That's really rich. We only have 1% of them. They have 5%. And
we got a super chat. I'm just going to grab this super chat. Hoffology, $2. Why did Serbian hotel manager in Canada turn on Trump? I think, to be honest with you, a lot of people have turned on Trump. It's because he's changing many variables which are not good for business. I'm no longer a Trump supporter. I tell you this, Math. I'm no longer a Trump supporter because of what's gone on. Black Cat 997, $5. I mentioned this earlier on AC3 stream. What do you think about the Five Eyes alliance? Is there a lower level comm with the French, Germans, etc.? Yes, the Five Eyes. You know, that special alliance there.
I think anything they do that's contrary to American interests, I'm not interested in. You know, this is America, and I have to speak like an American. We do what is in our interests. So human rights don't matter any longer. Those policies have been pulled since the first term of Trump. All presidents honored human rights in other countries. Jimmy Carter started it. So the problem with that policy is it conflicts with American interests. So essentially, the American policy is we care about us, we care about what you do to help us, and we'll help you along the way if you can do it. It's a completely selfish policy, as it should be.
I see what you're saying there.
Jimmy Carter started this concept of human rights, and when a dictator was doing bad things to his people, we had problems with that. We don't any longer, because the easiest government to deal with is a dictator. The easiest alliance you can make is with a dictator. That way you don't have to worry about a Congress or a parliament screwing up American policy that you've arranged in the country with the dictator. That's why we love to deal with the bad guys. Are easier to deal with than the good guys. Sorry to say. I know who's good and bad, but you have to deal with both. And the good guys are the real problem for America. France, England, the European Union, which should be abolished. Anyway.
Oh, you're not a okay, fair point. Fair point. It's
I'm a populist. I'm a populist, Archie, like President Trump. I hate big banks, so does he. He hates Wall Street, so do I. He hates corporate conglomerates. He hates big. He hates big government. He hates the deep state, which is the power elite in America. Now, he had to pay homage to the devil for years. He was a businessman in New York City. But his beliefs now can be carried out. So he can take his retribution on Wall Street, which is doing great, by the way, because of the Trump policies.
Yes.
So all the haters now like him, which is an odd, all the haters in that genre like him, which is an odd category. Somebody thinks I dye my eyebrows. So I have one eyebrow. One. I shave this since I'm 19. When I became a professional model, they taught me to shave this. It was required, and I do it every day. I've never dyed my eyebrows. We may have different shades of lighting that make you think that if you're following us, but my eyebrows have no dye. Now, I have white hairs here and here, and a couple of strands of white hairs here, and some white hairs, which you probably can't see, in the eyebrows. I do color my hair and have since I've been about mid-20s for reasons then similar to reasons now. Not so much. I didn't have the gray. I don't have gray. I didn't have the white hair back then, but I get a lot of sun and I get a lot of water and chlorine. And sometimes my hairstylist says, "Did you use, what color are you using?" I said, "No, I'm just getting bleached out from this chlorine." So sometimes my hair, actually in the Philippines, my hair turns like orange. I don't know, between the salt water and all the water I'm getting every day. So swimming and so forth. I'm a swimmer and I love the beach and I get sun every single day. So I get bleached out. I color my hair to keep it colored. During COVID, I didn't color it for 3 months. I wanted to see during the lockdown, how do I look? And I did. I have white hair. I keep saying gray. White hair trickled in here only. My hair color that you're looking at is probably as close to my natural color as I can get it. And I do color it about once a month.
That's good news.
People are asking. I see it coming up a lot in the messages. So I thought finally I would address it. I'm a very straight shooter. I'll tell you, there are very few things I hide. Can't think of what I hide, but I'm sure there must be something I'm hiding. I'm just not sure what it was. But yeah, you asking a question. Maybe that's what we should do, Archie, one day, even without the super chats.
Yes.
Go through and answer these. Does your coloring? Oh yeah, the eyebrow guy. I'm looking at the messages, and sometimes they ask pretty interesting questions.
Yes, they do. They do.
I think our show's over, Archie, isn't it?
Yeah, it's time to wrap her up. Math, it's been
Wait, hold on a minute. The Frishman is a lizard. What is that? John Gordon Meade, who has quite a distinguished picture. says the Frishman is a lizard. I'm not sure what that is, unless he thinks I'm one of those reptile aliens, which is always possible. You can never confirm or deny such things. Right?
100% right there. I really do like it. Frishman, it's been an honor having you on. It's been a great show. I think we really enjoy having you, man. Please stay with us and we will keep doing these shows. I love these shows.
Yeah, Archie, I'm here for you. And you know what we say? Where's my balloons? They don't pop down when I do this anymore. You know what we say? I'm Marcus Allen Frishman, and you're not.
That's the show for today, guys. We'll be back next week. Thank you, Math. Much appreciated. Great show.
Thank you, Archie. Take care. God bless everyone.
Hi, guys. It's ArchieLuxury. Guys, I want to talk to you about David SW. David SW, David SW. Guys, if you are in America, if you are looking for a Rolex watch of your dreams, in fact, if you're looking for a contemporary modern wristwatch, I strongly advise you to look at David SW. Guys, don't play the dealer games. Don't bring in chocolates or Krispy Kremes for your dealer hoping to get a Rolex at retail. It's futile. Please, guys, save your dignity. Keep some pride. Go to David SW. I would highly recommend David SW, David SW. If you're in America and you're looking for a watch, go to David SW, David SW, David SW. Great show, Math.
Great show.